Hey guys, it's Vic. I just wanted to take some time to show you guys how the new WebView system works and also touch on some of the things like using the access tokens and things like that. So here we are on the main page of the website. So if you go to your members area, you'll see right here, it shows you what you have in the way of access. That's going to be important because right now you see I do not have any WebView access. So if I go to the web view, so these two options would disappear with the update because I'm not going to use those anymore. Actually, no, they'll stay there until I've updated all the systems, because this will be for anyone who's not on an integrated sorter like Chimera will be and stuff like that, but the DFS will be on the new integrated system. So you would click on the integrated system and you come to this page here. So we'd select DFS. And then we want to go ahead and select me. And you can see it says I do not have access because I don't have WebView access, as we can see right here. No WebView access. But just to show you, I don't have access, but I'm set as an admin on Frizz's sorter. So if I do that and I choose sorter owner, she has access, so I can see her sorters because she has the rights. I don't. But because I'm using it as her admin, I get to see her stuff. And now you'll see here it shows that I'm then looking at it as a non-owner, so you realize it's not your stuff you're looking at. Couple things to note for when you're looking at people's sorters as their admin. If you see at the bottom, we have this here that says limited sorters. It's her stuffies and more sorter. I can see that it exists, but if I click on it and try to load it, I get nothing, like nothing loaded over here. But if I went for like her cakes and sweets, I can see the sorter. So that is just showing you that if you set a sorter to limited, your admins will not be able to see it on WebView, which is a good thing. And that's the whole point of limited, is it's only you that can use it. So if I change sorter owner, and again, I choose me, I don't have access to the web view. So now if we switch over to in world, if I go ahead and res out the web view access token, which will be included in your web view box if you get a redelivery, I just res it out. You'll see it there for a second, then it'll go away. Right here, access has been updated. So now if I go here and I refresh, you can see I now have access on my profile. So if I refresh here, I can now see my sorters. So that's good. So here's all my sorters right here. Hidden sorters, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But over here on the left side, there's a list of all of your sorters. And then here's the boxes you'll do commands on your sorters. So let's take a second and look at what we see on this page. So it says we need to either select load all to view all items or select a sorter from the above list. And it's giving a note that I have hide ignore turned on. So if a sorter isn't loading, then it might not show. I'm pretty sure show ignore, I actually had that toggled on from some testing. It should default to off when you've not turned it on. But, and then again, if I look down here, now that hidden sorters is gone because that was just telling you which ones weren't showing up on there. So let's take a look at a sorter. So let's go back in world. I've got my meats sorter here and my labeled wines sorter. Labeled wines will be to show you something later, but meats sorter right here. If I go right here and I select meats and load sorter, you can see here's everything I have in the sorter. It is by default sorted by name. So there'd be name, and then I could do like you're not gonna have double names by going like sorting by name and count when it makes sense, but I could sort by count if I just want to see what I had little of in there. So I could be like, what do I need to make, stuff like that. Then over here it just tells you what sorter it's in. This isn't as useful when you're looking at a sorter by itself because again everything is in that one sorter. And then here's the check marks to send or to box. Let me show you how that works. So if I want to send myself one beef carcass, I can click the check mark. And then if I leave get box, the get/box here empty, it'll just do one item. Or you can put whatever you want in there. I'm going to do one item. I'm going to go get item. And then if I go back into world, it's going to say it's sending it. This right here is just some debug text I will get rid of before the update, but that's just there for me. So then right here, see, it gave me this item. And as you can see in my recents, the item was sent to me. Pretty cool, pretty easy. So now if we want to box up items, that's the other option. You check box. And again, I want to do 25 items. No, let's go. Let's see, I have 50s in here, right? Yeah, I've boxed up in 50s, so I actually want to do 50. So I'm going to go 50. Then, since its box is checked, when I say get item, it's going to make a box of 50 here. See, it says boxing up, done boxing, transfer complete. As Bobby has said in the video before about using the sorter for boxing up, wait for that transfer complete. Then I can take that, and I've got a box of 50 in my inventory. Now, I want to get the rest of these boxed up as much as I can in 50. So I've got like 143 of them. Now, see here, this didn't update because this does not update unless you refresh. So if I hit refresh, I now have 143 crates. But I want those boxed up in 50s. So I could do 2 boxes of 50. So again, I click box. Go to get box. I want 50 per box, but I want 2 boxes. Get item. And then you'll see it's going to spit out a box, do it, spit out a box, do it. And you can see right here, transfer complete, transfer complete. And then the done loading boxes tells you that it's done trying to, but the box lags a little bit behind on finishing from when it says it's done. So yeah, just make sure you see all of them say transfer complete. And then as you can see, 1, 2. So 2 items. So if I go ahead and take these and put them all in my sorter and hit sort. We sorted the boxes here, sorted the carcasses there. So now, Bobby had talked about restocking. Now, if I wanted to restock the sorter, like say, oh, my beef carcasses are low, I need more beef carcasses, I can come here, and when I select the beef carcass, and then I click restock here, I hit, let's refresh first so we can see updated numbers. See, so 44 beef carcasses, and then the 14 there. So then I click box, restock, get item. We come over here, it's going to say attempting to restock. It reses out of one of these, goes into here, starts sorting, and now I have 94 of those items in the sorter. So that's how you can use the sending and the boxing up on a single sorter, and it tells you over here what it's doing, sending the restock command, and then it kicked back saying it was attempting to restock. So that's pretty cool. It like gets you information what's going on, and again, if you refresh, 13 of those now and 94 of those. So that's how you can work with things on a single sorter. Now, I just click clear sorter here because I don't want to look at that sorter anymore. But say I want to look at all of my sorters. This is going to be give me some cool things I can see when I do that. So again, on the left here is my list of all my sorters. I don't have any sorters set to limited just because I don't. Now this load all button is going to load in all the sorters. Now this can take a little bit of time, but it shouldn't take a lot of time because I've made it faster now. So if I hit load all, we would just wait for this to come in. You can see it's still thinking up here. It's getting the responses from all sorters. Now they're all in. And as you can see, I've loaded in 6,443 items from the sorters that I can look at. So what's different when you do load all? First off, it'll say here, select all. If I scroll down here, it tells me all of these things are duplicated. Part of that is because I have items where I have duplicate items for specific reasons. But what you have is a thing called hiding your web view or web view ignore. So what I can do is you can hit hide ignore, and now it's going to reload the contents of this stuff, of your sorters. And when it does that, you can now see the list of duplicates is smaller because it's now hiding my item processor and my pick animals. So the item processor is what I put in stuff when I'm making pictures. And so I've got like a copy of common things so that when I'm doing breakout, whatever, it'll sort it. So that's why I had duplicates in there. But because I hide it, there's now not duplicates in this list from that. But I still have a couple of duplicates here that it might be a concern. So Mr. Clicky, that's not a concern for me right now because what I've done is I've condensed to save some prims for stuff. I've condensed all my multiple sorters of clickies to just have them all in default boxes, so I can ignore that. Donut box, that is because DFS has a lunchbox called the donut box and a box of donuts called the donut box. And so they share a picture, they share a name, but I've got them in separate sorters so they're separated. And so it sees them in both. So I can ignore. But this, that's something that could be kind of annoying to me because if I look at this, my winery Merlot red wine, if I do a search here, you can see I've got it in my labeled wines and my booze. And I'm like, oh, well, there's a reason to have my labeled wines separated is because they're ones that are labeled with my labels. So I have them for a reason separated. But if we look at my sorter, I don't have drop and go turned on it. So it'll never sort to here by its own. But I can do what's called the ignore, WebView ignore. So if you go to the admin menu, or your menu and you go to admin, or add-ons, I'm sorry, you can see the WebView ignore here. It is off. You can turn it on here, but why would we do that in a WebView video? We'll use the WebView to do it. So I want that labeled wines sorter. So I will clear the sorter selection. I'll go down here and I'll go to labeled wines and I will load that sorter. So now you can see there's the 3 items on it. I want to set its ignore. I can either turn it on or off. So if I hit on and I hit set ignore, it's going to attempt to update it, updating a setting on the sorter. I hit refresh and oh, now I can't see it. But that's again, by this note here, it's not loading because it's on my ignore list and I have hide ignore turned on. So if I hit show ignore, it comes back. So that's what's nice with the ignore is again, if I go hide ignore and I clear out this and I say load all to pull up all my sorters. Sorry, it does take a second to load because I have a lot of stuff in the sorters. You can now see it does not say that those 3 wines are duplicates because it is ignoring them because it got the ignore turned on. Which again makes it really nice to not have to deal with stuff. Alright, so we're getting close to being done with the examples of what we can do with the sorters. So if I clear that out, what we now have here are a couple options left. We have the recipe check exact, RU check exact, RU check +1, RU check +2. So if I click recipe check exact, it's going to do something. It is going to look at all the items in my non-RU sorters, and it's going to see what items I could make based on what's in there. So now if I look at this, it says I have 929 different items I could possibly make from what's in my sorters. Now, that's pretty cool because now I can say, hey, what do I want to cook? You could, you know, look through the list alphabetically. You could do a search for something like, say, I wanted to see what I could make that has like beef in the name, whatever, right? Like beef briskets, I could make beef stroganoff, right? Corned beef, ground beef, stuff like that. You can also, by clicking the little arrows here, sort by total EP. I should be able to make a DFS jello shot tray which has a total of 330 EP. This is a nice way to find what you can make with what's in your sorters. Now, if I refresh it, another cool thing is say my reduced use sorter is getting pretty full. I want to clean it out. What can I make from my reduced uses? Well, there's what these 3 buttons are for. Are you check exact? That loads really fast because it's just my reduced use sorter. Oh, and over here you can see what sorters it actually looked at. But so see here, I could make all of this from just what is in my reduced use sorters. But what if I wanted to add an ingredient that I don't have to maybe expand my possibilities? Are you check 1 and 2 does the same thing, but it checks if you just need 1 missing ingredient. So if I click that, you can see I now have this many items. So green means you can make it with nothing else needed. But like up here, to make this guy, I would need to get some wax because I don't have any reduced wax in my reduced use sorter. But if I want to just use some wax, I can make it. And then the same thing, if I do are you check +2, you get another color added in, which is the white, which shows you there's 2 items. If you add 2 items that are not in your reduced use, you can make that. So DFS wax, DFS flowers, sunflower basket. So that helps you look at your, this is only looking at your reduced use sorter, because this is basically a way to clean up your reduced use sorter, get rid of those extras. You know, you might make some extra reduced use if you're not careful. If you try to use too many of, you know, like I wanted to do wax in the sunflowers, maybe that's not going to be a good idea because now I'm just going to end up with reduced use of those. But say it's something that uses like water buckets that only have a single use, you're not going to end up with reduced use water buckets, but you're also not going to put reduced water buckets in your reduced use sorter. So it lets you know, hey, if you just grab water buckets, you can make this. So it's a pretty handy tool. I was definitely told I needed to make sure that was working on this because people use it all the time. Future Vic here. When editing the video, I realized I left out something you guys might run into. So let me show you. So if you have a sorter that some reason is not communicating with the server, doesn't update its WebView stuff, to simulate that, I'll just pick up my labeled wines. But now that's not going to be able to be talked to by the server. So when I do my load all, and we'll let that go here. You'll see that it says selected all. Oh, my labeled wine was in my hidden. Let me undo that. So show ignore. So now it's showing the ignored sorter. So it's actually going to check that sorter to see if it exists, because the show ignore it just doesn't check it while it's doing that. So now it'll say right here, you can see this bad URL sorters right here. There's one sorter with bad URLs. Reset WebView on these sorters or use remove sorter above if they no longer exist. So like obviously it's not having any issues, actually having any issues because I picked it up. But if I wanted to get rid of this thing for whatever reason, you know, I can go back and hit reset WebView and it should fix it. If it's one you've picked up, you can res it back out, which I'll do in a second. But what you can do is instead of doing, just to show how this works quicker, instead of doing show all, I'm just going to do my labeled wines. So I'm going to do my labeled wines. So again, it's trying to load it. Oh, I can't load it. You know, bad URL. So if I go ahead and say remove sorter now, and I clear this, you'll see in my L area, it doesn't exist anymore, right? Like that sorter does not exist, so it's not going to keep bugging you. But that's not an issue, because as soon as I res this back out, and we'll just put it back into place, and then I say yes to my link, it's going to check in, and then if I refresh the page, you'll see my labeled wines are right back. So same thing if like there's something wrong with the web view, as soon as you refresh it, you know, it won't give you that error anymore. And like I said, if I go back to my labeled wines, say load sorter, it's not having any issues. Sometimes this will happen too if you like res out a sorter and then pick it up and then res it out and then put items in it. Sometimes it kind of like makes like a duplicate in the system that is like phantom ghost sorters. You can use the same thing to remove them from the system, so they're just not, you know, anytime you try to load it's like, hey, these are bad. You can just remove them and no big deal. Don't be worried about removing any sorters that show up on there, because as soon as you res it back out or reset the web view, it'll automatically show back up. It's not anything that matters like in the long run if it gets removed from the list, because it'll just repopulate as soon as it communicates with the servers. I think that covers everything we need to know about the web view. If you guys are looking at the web view and have any questions about it, let me know, and maybe I can make another video addressing specific items that I may have missed. All right, that's it for now. Hope that helped you guys, and have a good day.